Hello and welcome to the Business Central Training Place, the channel for all things BC, where you get to not only learn how one of the best ERP solutions on the market works in detail, but you also get to see why you might want to use the specific features and what are the real life contexts in which you might want to apply them. So today this is going to be a short one. It's more or less on demand. I realized that maybe a lot of you don't know how easy it is to use the mobile version of Business Central. And in fact, with the latest versions where you essentially only have a web client, just having the application set up is basically all the prerequisites you have in order to use the mobile phone app. Now there is actually a prerequisite where you, if you're not using the Azure hosted one, if you're running on-prem, then it's highly recommended that you use actually official SSL certificate, so the app can recognize it. But I haven't tried it in the last version, but it is possible to also use a self-signed one. However, in that scenario, you will have to actually go and install it device by device, and yeah, it's gonna be quite a bit more of a hassle. So, as I said, it's gonna be a quick one. Basically, all you need is your trusted Business Central. Open the browser, just copy the URL, the base one, and there you go. And I've gone ahead and pasted it in my mobile phone. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead to Teams and share my screen so you guys can see what's going on my phone. So what you're seeing here is a capture of my phone. So I'm gonna go back to the home screen, and I've gone ahead and pre-copied from the chat the URL. So basically what you want to do is go to the whatever is your app store and just search for Dynamics Business Central, and you will usually get a suggestion, and it's the top one you want. You recognize it by the teal logo, and of course it's by the Microsoft Corporation. So go ahead and install this app. It's free. It exists in both Android and Apple iOS stores, so both should be easy to find. And basically, when you open the app, you're greeted by this screen. And depending on which version of Business Center you're running, whether you are hosted in Azure or whether it's on-prem, there's two things you may have to do. So one option will be just enter your user credentials where it says sign in with the work or school account. Then it will recognize which organization you're linked to. But if you click advanced option, you actually get to choose exactly where do you want to log in. So if it's an on-prem, you click on the first arrow, and then it's gonna take you to another screen, which for some reason, yeah, now there you go. So I have a pre-recorded link, so you can actually click here and choose if you want to choose a different URL. I'm gonna go ahead and use this one. So let's see, I think this one should work. Let's see if I remember my password. Should be manager. Hopefully that's the right one. Yeah, so you just authenticate, and as I mentioned, in order for this to work, you would need an actual SSL certificate. So using a self-signed one, you would need to install it on the device itself before this works properly. And this doesn't always take so long. I think this might be something with my specific phone. And by the way, if you're wondering, it runs on quite a lot of devices. I think the minimum specs are quite low. I don't have them in front of me, but basically this is a OnePlus 5, so almost a 4-year-old phone. Generally speaking, runs just fine, except in this specific case. And there we go. So basically what you greeted with is whatever was the row center that you selected for your user. So in my case, I think that's some kind of a purchase, either purchasing, yeah, it looks like either purchasing agent or an accountant. And basically you see the row center, the starting screen, the three dashes in the lower left corner, that's basically your top part of the screen, the ribbon. So you see the same shortcuts, and you can go to the various. If I click here, it will open the bank accounts, for example. So you navigate as a regular app. I click back, it goes back. The three dots here essentially give you the access to the other shortcuts you have in the screen. So in this case, I get the shortcuts which are on your row center, like creating a new document, whatever were assigned to you. And there you should have somewhere you have all the main setups. Again, these are the options that you see here will depend on whatever role center you chose. Same as for the business here, whatever are the setups and so on. So if you go scroll all the way down, you have basically the options that you normally see if you're running the regular client here under the settings section. So you have the My Settings, Company Information, Assisted Setup. Obviously, you don't get the personalized option for the simple reason that, I mean, that's a mobile app, so it would be much harder. Although it will be interesting to see if they do it someday. So if you hit the My Settings option, we will see, yes, I do indeed have an accountant, and you can change. So if I go to my favorite sales order processor, it will reload and basically launch into the default sales order processor row center. So it works and behaves very, very similar to what you would do. Oops. To what you would do on your desktop on the browser. There are some limitations, of course. So there are some pages which you may try to open here which won't work. So I don't know if this one will work, but yeah, right now there isn't. I did notice that in the past, if I had timesheets that I was supposed to approve, so right now it works. I haven't checked if in this version they did it. There was a point where I wasn't able to report time with timesheets. So there isn't a timesheet here, so that's probably something. Yeah, you see, this task is not possible on your current device. So if you are using a tablet, a bigger screen, it seems it might work. I haven't actually had the chance to test it, so that might be something for another video. But there are some special types of pages which might not be accessible. You can, however, just work just fine with the regular documents. So you can create an order, quote, whether it's for purchase or sales. You click the plus sign here. It takes a little while in my case. Also depends on your connection, of course. So you get the usual creature comforts. You can select the customers. By default, you have this view with the pictures, and then I can, get to entering lines and so on and so forth. So you do have, it looks a little bit different, but you have essentially most of the same capabilities. It is not, however, a full replacement for the desktop experience, yeah, for obvious reasons. Now I do want to actually go back and sign out, so I can try and log in with a different account. So if you're using the Azure experience, you have a similar set of steps, but in this case you would click on the Cloud Sandbox, and then here it's asking you for your account. So let's see if it remembers it. Should be this one. Yes. And let's see if it got the right one. And in this case, because usually one user in the Azure environment has access to one Business Central environment. Now in my case, I actually have several different environment. So these are three different sandboxes for various demos. So I'll choose the BC demo, and it lets me connect. So you may see a bigger list if your user has access to multiple different environments. You basically see all the different, think of them as the different databases to which your account has access. And same thing as before. So essentially the only thing difference is that in the first instance you have to specify the URL to the server on the on-prem installation. Whereas if you're running the Azure Software as a Service version, then you will essentially just supply your username and password, and then you get to choose which specific environment you want to connect to. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, navigating around this thing is pretty easy. You choose whichever screen you want to go to. Now, you do not get to go to everywhere in the system. So depending on which row center you are assigned to, and that might be limited. So you may not have access to all the row centers. So and of course the usual user permissions work as well. So all of that is as usual. You don't get the search option that you have on the desktops in the browser. So if, for example, here in my list, I don't see production orders, I don't get to open production orders. If I can be assigned, or if I can assign myself a row center, which, let's say, a manufacturing manager, which has access to this functionality, then yes, I might be able to go and see production orders, for example, or assembly orders, or whatever is not shown on my home screen by default. But you don't get to just click find or tell me what to do, as it's called now, and just type production orders or assembly orders or vendors or whatever it is you're searching and just go there. You have to actually have it on your row center. So as I said, it's not intended to be a replacement for the full desktop experience, but it's a great tool if you're on the go when you need to catch up on some work, or yeah, basically input some data, or you can indeed run some reports as well. So you do get the screen for Power BI as well. So if you have linked Power BI to your Business Central application, then you can see some of the dashboards which might be visible here. So yep, that's a quick one just to let you know how to connect to the Business Central app. So as usual, if you found this video helpful or interesting, please hit the like button. If you have any suggestions on how this can get better, there always is something more that can be done. Then please leave me a comment, and do not forget to hit the subscribe button and also the notification bell so you don't miss the next video in the series. I'm Sami, and this is the Business Central Training Place. See you in the next one.